Okay, this is a quick introduction to the Oceanographic Model and Data Portal. There's many ways to search data on here. You can search for words in the title or abstracts of data sets up here. You can go to a catalog and look through different categories like salinity, sea surface height, and things like that if you click there. Or you can use these categorical searches here to look for Hurricane Sandy data sets, model output, and sensor data. I'm going to click first on the model output. And this shows you some selected model runs. And let's just look at this first one here, which is the coast forecast system. You get a bunch of icons down here of the different variables. And if we want to add one to look at on the portal, we can click on this plus sign here. And you see now that there's one layer in the portal. We selected potential temperature. So if we go up to the portal now, we can see the potential temperature from the coast model for the latest time step. Here, there's a time slider at the bottom, so if we want to see some other time step, we can move back, and it'll load that time step. We can also zoom in to a particular region, and if we don't see much structure here because of the scale, we can change the scale. We can go here to this little gear icon, and we can change the extents. Or what I usually do is I go here and I say auto set for data in view, which will map the full color range to the area that we're looking at. Okay, I'm going to use this button here to go to, this button here to go to the full extent. And now I'm going to go and add some sensor data. So I'm going to go back to the main page by clicking on the green bar up here. And I'm going to go to sensor data now. And I'm going to select our time series measurement database. And I'm going to add that to the portal. So now I've got two layers in the portal. If I go back to the portal now, I see in the legend, I see our time series data appearing at the top, just above our model output. So we've got two data sets here. And now we can see these hexagons, which indicate that there is a group of stations in that range. So when you zoom in to a region, we can see the individual stations. And if we hover over them, we get an idea of what parameters were collected in the time range. So down here at the bottom, this slider now, if we move this slider from 1975 forward, and as we slide it along, we can see stations disappearing, our older stations, until we just get, if we close this extent down, we just see the stations that we've collected most recently. If we hover over actually the model result, we can see that we get the values. We could also click and get a time series, but I'm not going to do that because it takes a while. Instead, I'm going to shift, drag, and zoom into some of our sensor data. And maybe actually now I'll turn the model off because that's a little bit distracting. So I'll go to the little eye here, turn that layer off. So now we just have our sensor data again. And if we click on an individual sensor, we see a time series. We can actually expand that time series to the full screen here. And now we see that we might have different depths available that we can select. We have different variables along the top. If we hover over the time series, we get the value. We can also change the range on that time series very easily if we want to look at a particular event here. And we can slide this bar by grabbing in the middle to look at that same time range over the extent of the record in the plot auto scales. So we can also see that we can also download that data here as a CSV file if we click here, and we can also get the data from ERDAP by clicking over here. So that's just a brief introduction to the portal, and I hope you find it useful.